Hey everybody out there, Chris and Mike here, and welcome back finally to another Dark Avenger Comic Book review. And it's Friday, TGIF everybody. As you guys know, my books came late, very late. Usually I get them on Friday. These books came on Tuesday of the following week. So that's basically 4 days after I'm supposed to get them, plus this review is a week after. Right now we should be filming, let's put it this way, the indie reviews for the 30th. Instead, due to the lateness of these books, we're filming the big two. Look forward to the indie review. Hopefully, God willing, we'll catch up. We already caught up on our videos on Ink. But hopefully we'll catch up indie review-wise by Saturday, Sunday. And then the other comic review, God willing, if the comic books come on time, will be on this coming Monday. So you guys are lucky. You get a comic review on Friday, a comic review during the weekend, and then the on-time comic review on Monday. I don't know how that's considered lucky, because a lot of people say the reviews are so long that it takes time to get through, but I guess it's just because it's 3 reviews. Lots of videos, I know, but I know you guys asked for even. I've gotten a few messages for people who wanted more videos. And I have a few ideas that I'm bouncing around for this channel, so don't worry guys, we'll see. And as I said in the last video, Google Plus, the only update I could give you is we joined Google Plus, and we now can reply back to people who comment the video who have a Google Plus account. So there is a positive on that sense, where we can at least reply back now to everybody, and eventually everybody's going to be forced to get a Google Plus, but we can actually reply back now. But I did have an idea, and I'm still going to put it into action. But that idea I have will make its own appearance soon, or it'll take effect soon. You guys will see on the channel. But till then, we're talking about books that were released on the final week of November, November 30th, 2000.
October 30th.
October, thank you. We're in November now, but October 30th, 2013. It's the 4th week of the month, so it's those extra books plus DC's continuation with their annuals. So let's start off with Infinity Tie and Guardians of the Galaxy, issue number 8. I don't know why, but I just didn't feel this issue. The issue was very dark. The artwork, as much as I want to say Frank Villa's artwork was, it was okay art. Not super spectacular, but definitely not the artwork we're used to seeing. I mean, this is one of the better pages from the book, which is like the first page. But I'm not used to seeing Frank Villa's artwork for Guardians of the Galaxy. It's very dark, very like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not as detailed as the art that is usual for this book. Once again, it is connected to Infinity, so there are mention of things that are going on in Infinity that if you're not reading Infinity, you probably have no idea about. But Guardians of the Galaxy are contacted by Sword, who were attacked by Thanos' forces and or his armada, and they actually ask the Guardians of the Galaxy for help. Of course, the Guardians answer. Unfortunately, it's a trap. Who didn't see that coming a mile away? And as teased in the last issue, when the Guardians of the Galaxy need help, guess who shows up in a big old red splash page? Angela.
Yeah, I was looking through it. The artwork doesn't look that bad, really.
It's not that bad. I didn't say it was that bad. I said for this book, it took a bit of getting used to, and it's dark.
Yeah, well, with the red and black.
It's very red and black. No, yeah. It's very red and black. I mean, you can't get any redder or blacker than that.
Yeah.
So, to be continued in the next issue. Once again, it's connected to Infinity, and I have not been reading Infinity. However, it does keep its story very well contained, so that if you're really not reading Infinity, once again, there are things that are mentioned about Infinity, but at the same time, it still takes care of itself. It doesn't really go too far into like, well, they're doing this, and if you're not reading Avengers, you won't know what this is. So, and this is kind of the point where Iron Man jumps off the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Angela is going to probably, most likely, definitely jump onto Guardians of the Galaxy. And I'm most looking forward to the all-new X-Men Guardians of the Galaxy mix-up that's going to be happening in about 2 months, I believe. So that's something to look forward to, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy. I leave it up to you guys. Normally, I would say if you're not reading a certain event, to skip over any tie-ins. But in this case, like I said, the story kind of stayed its own. Artwork is something you gotta just get used to. Not something usual for Guardians of the Galaxy. Speaking of the all-new X-Men, X-Men Battle of the Atom Chapter 10, or Battle of the Atom Issue Number 2. The grand finale of the Battle of the Atom. And what did we learn in the Battle of the Atom? Absolutely nothing. The all-new X-Men can't go back. The future X-Men, whoever didn't die, went back to the future, except for a couple of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants who stayed behind. And this reminds me of the Age of Apocalypse story arc, where the Nightcrawler from Age of Apocalypse stayed behind during the Astonishing X-Men and the Uncanny X-Force run, and he stayed behind in order to wipe out the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants from the Age of Ultron's time. So now we have Storm's daughter, who stays behind, just like during Uncanny X-Force. She now stays behind after Battle of the Atom to finish off whoever's left in the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, because the Brotherhood didn't go back. But wait, doesn't that mean there's two Jeans? Nope, because apparently Jean Grey blows herself up. And Future Beast...
Jean Grey blows herself up?
Yeah.
How's that possible?
Power overload.
Oh, I never thought that would happen.
But there are some important points here. First point, S.H.I.E.L.D. has their own Sentinels. So that already shows how much S.H.I.E.L.D. trusts the X-Men and mutants in general. Some of the beginning artwork I wasn't too much of a fan of. There are a lot of artists in this book. There's Izod Ribic with Giuseppe Comicoli, and then there's Andrew Curry with Tom Palmer.
Oh, Andrew Curry.
Yes.
I heard that name before.
And then there's different artists and writers that do the epilogues. There's 4 epilogues. Two of them are written by Jason Aaron. One of them's written by Brian Michael Bendis, and one of them's written by Brian Wood, also known for the writing on the amazingly spectacular Star Wars that comes out of Dark Horse. But I like some of the artwork. Some of the artwork, I'll tell you guys the truth though, the changing of artwork, like from page to page, really is a pain in the ass when you're reading this book sometimes, because you just get used to one set of artwork and then you get to another page and But I did like all the artwork, so it really isn't that bad as far as the artwork change. It's just you don't learn really much of anything, except the past X-Men are stuck in the present, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants from the future are in the present, S.H.I.E.L.D. has their own Sentinel set, Wolverine and Cyclops still hate each other's guts, and the one thing that Jean Grey, or the future Jean Grey, known as Scorn, actually said was, and she pointed right to, which one was it? To Cyclops and Wolverine, saying that basically it's their fault. She's like, you know who's to blame? We squared everything, Professor X. We squandered everything Professor X ever built for us. We've completely lost our ways. And do you know who's to blame? And she points at Wolverine and Cyclops. She's like, you two. You two with your squabbling, with your ridiculous schism. You brought us to this point. You brought me out of my own time. You subverted the natural order of things, and you two ruined everything. What does this mean? Obviously, it's a play for the future where either Cyclops and Wolverine are going to rejoin forces and the X-Men will be whole again, or we're going to get that Doom kind of dark
The
future.
way I see it grows between Wolverine and Cyclops, I don't see that working out. Unless it was something major, like a big event that they have to team up for some ways, because sometimes that happens. But the way I see it, not too sure about Wolverine and Cyclops ever teaming up.
Yeah, but again, we learn nothing really major. Nothing really gets solved. Everything stays exactly the same, and that is the story in general.
Basically,
And that's it. Then we get to the epilogues. First epilogue, Wolverine gives an awesome speech about how, you know what, Cyclops calls and says, you know how ridiculous it sounds, Professor Logan? He's like, yeah, but you know what, I wake up every morning and it's like, but I walk through those doors and I'm making Charles Xavier's dream a reality. You know, I'm living up to it, and nothing means, and I don't give a damn what anybody, you or S.H.I.E.L.D. or anyone thinks. I'm just going to keep doing it. Epilogue 2 is an awesome epilogue with Jubilee and Adult or Future Songo. Epilogue 3, the Future X-Men go forward. The Future X-Men go back to their time, as well as the Future Iceman makes a small, very tiny reference about the Bamfs, and to keep an eye on them, of course, teasing Amazing X-Men, which comes out this week. And then the final epilogue, which is the one that has everybody, Kat, Eric, everyone uproaring, even Mike Spider Slayer. And I'm not, like, Kitty Pryde is definitely up there on my favorite X-Men, but she's not my top favorite X-Men. But boy, did they write her so bad here. This Kitty Pryde is completely and utterly whiny and like, I give up, you don't listen to me, you didn't care. And this actually was written by Brian Michael Bendis, which I was actually shocked about. But whining, I trusted you, and this is what you did. Well, you know what, I'm done. She gives Alana this big, sister, I love you, Alana, you're my BFF forever, and she basically says goodbye, and guess who goes with her? The all-new X-Men. So the all-new X-Men now have skipped out on the Wolverine and the X-Men team and jumped over to Cyclops' team now.
Wow, that worked.
And Kitty Pryde went with them. That's great, Kitty. This was very out of character for Kitty Pryde, and that was the worst of the 4 epilogues. Yeah. So that's all we got. Kitty Pryde and the all-new X-Men jumping teams. We got the S.H.I.E.L.D. has their Sentinels, which Wolverine obviously is going to address in Wolverine and the X-Men. Most of the future X-Men went home, except one who stayed behind, like I said, during Uncanny X-Force, like what they did with Age of Ultra or with Age of Apocalypse. She stayed behind to make sure that her future Brotherhood of Evil Mutants was taken out and either sent back to the future or destroyed once and for all. And that's it.
And I was just going to say, is it me, or are some Marvel books mostly connected to X-Men Avengers? The last issues are kind of a little screwy.
Marvel can't end their own... Marvel can't
I said
end
some,
their
not
stories.
all.
No, Marvel cannot end their miniseries. Never can. Not good, anyway. They cannot end it.
There was a best miniseries that I have for this week, but I didn't get to it yet. I'm just saying, for some of them, mostly in the X-Men comic books, with their titles and stuff. So that's just me.
Superior Spider-Man issue number 20. This is supposed to be some groundbreaking book. Nothing important. Nothing super. Like they said, this is going to be a turning point. Nothing humongously ginormous happens here. There's a really hilarious moment between Black Cat and Doc Ock Spidey where, you know, Black Cat, as you see from the cover, has that love relationship with Peter Parker and Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and Doc Ock doesn't want anything to do with that. I mean, she's like, oh, hey, Spider, why so, formal? Because Doc Ock's like, Felicia, a.k.a. Black Cat, your days are done. He punches her in the face, knocks her tooth out, for God's sakes.
Wow.
And leaves her for the authorities. And she's like, I won't forget this Spider, ever. So you know something is going to happen in the future with Black Cat, and I just hope it doesn't come back to bite Peter Parker in the ass whenever he decides to come back. But also we get the one Madam Web page where she's like, soon, so soon, every spider, all the spiders will die.
That doesn't sound...
That's a huge tease.
Yeah.
And then we also get that Carly is going to start taking actions against Doc Ock to finally, get Peter Parker back. MJ decides, hey, I moved on with my life, so I'm going to go check out that firefighter that saved my life. And I love how she didn't even get her whole face of tiger, you've just hit the jackpot before a wet dog comes out and just knocks her off her feet. I was like, yep, that's what stupid people get. And then Peter Parker, of course, or Doc Ock, he decides he's going to open up his own business or his own company, puts everything on the line, and then he's ready for his doctorate, and the professor that had Doc Ock, when Doc Ock was a student, said, "You're done, Parker, because your work is the exact work of Dr. Otto Octavius. You're a fraud, and not only that, not only am I going to have you expelled, but you will never, ever get your degree, and in fact, I'll see that you're made a laughingstock of the entire scientific community." And you just get Doc Ock going, damn it, you want to destroy me? I've worked for this no matter what. I'll destroy you first, and that's all you see. And then the next character you get to see return is the Stunner, and that is a character from way back in the 80s. To be honest, I didn't read Spider. I don't even know who the Stunner is, so apparently Dan Slott's really reached into that B-list set of characters for Spider-Man, and we'll see where this series goes. But to be honest, I just want to get through this story arc because this is no big shocker story anymore. I mean, he said issue 20 was going to be a huge thing where something huge is going to happen. If it was the Black Cat thing, then you need to work on that pitch, Dan, because
he said it was going to get us like more angry. Maybe because after Black Cat now he can't get a degree or anything.
Maybe it's MJ dating the firefighter. I don't know, but I didn't leave this book angry. I didn't care about a lot of this stuff.
I
was like, okay,
angry either.
Progress the story, whatever. I'm more afraid for the Venom series. That I'm worried about. That's coming next month.
That I'm waiting to see. Oh, and that's the...
That's our Christmas clock.
Yeah. A little too early, but yeah.
Yeah, so on the hour, it decides to play a Christmas song. So, let's continue forward with
Ultimate Comics Cataclysm.
Point 1. Not issue number 1, but point 1.
Yes.
And it's done. This has the Ultimate Vision, and the Ultimate Vision is, for those of you that don't know the Ultimate Universe, a female, not a male, and she is with the Falcon, meaning she's dating the Falcon, and she was designed to fight Galactus. And after assimilating or reaching into Galactus's memories and seeing what else was with Galactus, she sees the regular 616 Marvel U, which is where Galactus comes from. And she realizes this is a huge threat for Earth, and she has to attempt at least to stop it. And if she can't, she said at least the Avengers will be on Earth, and they all need to be there to stop it. And then you see her doing a brief compare and contrast between Spider-Man, the 616 universe, Spider-Man being alive, and the Ultimate Universe, Spider-Man dead. The Avengers, where in the Ultimate Universe they're damaged, and in the regular universe they're not. And the X-Men being a strong, proud warrior race, whereas in the Ultimate Universe right now they're featured. And she comes face to face with Galactus. Remember, this is a point 1 book, so to be honest, don't expect a lot of development. And she tries to stop Galactus. It doesn't work. She sends a final distress call to Earth, and she's like, he can be destroyed, but you need Reed Richards, because that's the person that defeated him in the 616 universe. So guys, Cataclysm begins next week with issue number 1, or actually comes out this week with issue number 1. So I'm pumped now for issue number 1, and apparently Reed Richards is going to have to break out of that whole supervillain thing in the Ultimate Universe and save the Ultimate Universe from Galactus. And Vision does make mention of that also, whereas the 616 Reed Richards is a hero. Unfortunately, in the Ultimate Universe, he is one of the most deadliest villains. So it's going to be interesting to see how, especially after the previous story arc with where Reed Richards went completely batty, the final story arc for the Ultimates Disassemble, it's going to be interesting to see if and how Reed Richards redeems himself in the Ultimate Universe once and for all. Speaking of no redemption, Scarlet Spider issue 23. Kane wants Scarlet Spider to kill him, no matter what, and Scarlet Spider refuses. And at one point, Kane's like, Kraven's like, okay, you don't want to kill me? Kill one of his people. And unfortunately, that person that gets put on the chopping block, so to speak, is Donald. And basically, Kane is forced to deal a killing blow to Kraven in order to save Donald, or at least attempt to save Donald. And this is the first time where you see Wally actually pissed off at Kane, saying, "You've done enough, Kane. He's had it with Kane completely." And
the artwork.
Well, he didn't say you've done enough. He actually says the first panel where you see he's pissed off with Kane. He's like, "You're hurting him. Stop. Cut me out and let me do this myself. Let me try to save Donald." And then he says, you can see that Wally's had enough. And
the artwork looks
"You've had enough." Actually, Scarlet Spider brings Kraven back to life. So nobody ends up dying except Donald, who's in critical condition. And Wally actually goes onto the S.H.I.E.L.D. database for, what was it? The Superhuman Criminal Law Enforcement database, and does a search on Kane.
No.
And yeah, he finds out all about Kane's past.
That's gonna be a cliffhanger.
That was a huge cliffhanger. So, Scarlet Spider ends, I believe, with the next issue or two. And then Scarlet Spider's going into the new Warriors. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes now that now that Wally knows the truth about Kane and who he really is. Now it's going to be interesting to see where it goes from there. And this was just a straightforward story, a straight-up fight between Kraven and the Scarlet Spider. Friends got involved, and of course, now life will never be the same again for the Scarlet Spider. And as the final issue says, everything's going to fall apart for the Scarlet Spider, and he's going to end up leaving Texas. Will it be for Mexico, though? I don't think so. I think that, in the end, Kane might leave Texas, but he's not going to quit being the Scarlet Spider, and I have no idea where Arcelia is going to fit into all that, but I don't know if even her story arc is really going to be over yet. With that, there's one book left for Marvel and 5 minutes to spare, so let's go.
Book of the week, The Trial of the Punisher.
Book of the week for him.
Yes, because I'm holding this. The Trial of the Punisher, issue number 2, part 2 of 2. The ending was really amazing. Like, we see Frank Castle, who was on trial with the whole murder of D.A. Shapiro. And we get some phenomenal artwork in the Punisher comic book. And basically, he's just on trial where Santos is trying to come up with a defense for him. We get a little Matt Murdock appearance, along with the Daredevil confrontation as well. And Matt Murdock says a few stuff about Frank Castle and his mission that he went to, and if you want to know more about that, you can read the book or check out the in-depth comic review that will be on Dark Avenger Inc. And the endings, the way he just set up everything, like with all numbers and everything, he just went like killing like he does and well, really punishing people. And there was a favorite line where he says that he didn't torture Shapiro, he punished him, and it was somewhere in the comic book. And that's the end. Everything just...
Well, the end for now. Next issue, next story is going where he's going to California.
He's going to L.A., and I'm looking forward, definitely, picking up that comic book. But
I like how they do that. Miniseries and then a new ongoing series.
Yeah, but let's hope that the ongoing series won't end shortly because, you know, I like it when it's like more issues. I don't think the Punisher ever reached 100 issues.
No.
I don't recall.
No idea.
Really great. Parts 1 and 2, you should definitely pick it up. The Trial of the Punisher was an amazing read, and can't wait when he goes to LA.
And since we have 2 minutes left, I could talk about this book, jumping into DC Comics digital first books really quickly. Smallville Season 11 Special number 3, Hollow. Apparently every time DC releases an annual week, has an annual week, Smallville gets another annual. And I believe there's another one coming out in 2 months when we get another annual week. But anyway, Hollow is, it's a full story arc. It's a full story in one go instead of it being in 3 parts. And it's all about Tess Mercer trying to make her brother Lex Luthor's life a living hell. No Superman at all. It's straight up sibling rivalry without Lex knowing that it's Tess doing it to him. He gets himself beaten up. He tries to break into Star Labs and Emil gets hurt. And it's up to Tess to kind of protect Emil, and then she actually goes after Lex for attacking Star Labs. And she actually does talk with a character that was introduced in the first issue of the Smallville comic series, Hank Hansaw, who is robotics, obviously. He can talk to Tess. Like, they're in the same kind of network, so to speak. But in the end, basically, she has the chance to kill her brother, but doesn't. She chooses not to, and Lex Luthor finds out about the Lionel Luthor that brought him back to life was not his actual father from that universe. That he was a Lionel Luthor from an alternate Earth, and he wants to find a way to get to that Earth, or to or what was it? He says there's another Earth somewhere out there, at least there used to be. And he's like, so how do we save this one? Because this Earth something's going to happen to the current Earth that they're on. He's like, that's something I intend to find out. So Lex Luthor has to find out what happened to the previous Earth so that he could save his Earth and the Earth, period. So it's going to be interesting to see how that moves forward as the Smallville series continues forward. It was a nice issue, once again, not involving Superman, so I leave it up to you guys if you want to get it. Every single Smallville special so far, the first one was John Jones, the second one, I can't remember, it was Lois Lane and Lana. Now this one is Tess and Lex Luthor. So mostly the specials are outside of Superman, so if you are only reading Smallville's comics for Superman, so far you can skip almost every single special. However, the specials have huge things that happen in them, so if you're a fan of the series, you're going to want to read them. So with that, we are at the time limit, so we will be right back after this commercial break with the rest of DC Comics. So hang tight and we'll be right back. Hey everybody, and welcome back to this week's Dark Avenger Comic Book Review. Now, from here on, it's annuals all the way through, except for 2 books, so let's get started.
Yep.
I got every single annual except the Aquaman one. Why? Because I haven't been reading Aquaman for a while. If I was reading Aquaman, which I should have been, I would have gotten the annual, but I figured it was so far, I've been so far gone for a while now with Aquaman, I decided against getting the annual. So, Swamp Thing Annual number 2. The training of Swamp Thing begins here. His training to be better than the Cedar and to remain the what?
Those little ripples.
Yeah, I know. The Avatar of the Green starts here. You get to see previous Swamp Things. if you're not reading Swamp Thing, you would not appreciate. That's why I'm not going to really tell you what happens too much in this book. But you have Swamp Thing training with this little what was it? Her name was Lady Weed, and she's made of a weed, and
Lady Weed. I'm sorry, I just find it funny.
And she tries to explain or get Swamp Thing to expand his mind, to break free of his human limitations and understand that he has really great power if he just reaches into the green and stops thinking as an individual and just connects with the green. And he actually does, and that was awesome. That moment where she's like, I'm not going to let you escape here, but you're free to leave, but you have to get through me. And he's like, I don't have to worry about leaving. I'm already out because the green is everywhere. And then you actually there's this one moment where, and I think it's freaking sweet, you get the previous Swamp Thing, the one from the Alan Moore run, from Vertigo. You get to see Alec Holland Swamp Thing meet the former Swamp Thing, the thing that believed it was human, or had basically the Swamp Thing that had all of Alec Holland's memories, believed he was Alec Holland until he found out that he was just a copy of Alec Holland and not the actual human Alec Holland. He was just the impression that Alec Holland left on the swamp. And yeah, that leaves a huge impression on Swamp Thing. And he's like, how did you do it? How did you get so strong? And he's like, no great secret. If you're asked to do something that will change you in a way you don't wish to be changed, that will compromise the person you believe yourself to be, say no. And then it continues forwards for a little bit more, which I'm not going to spoil. And then next week, or this week, Swamp Thing issue 25. A challenge answered. 2 enter, 1 lives. So the Cedar versus Swamp Thing begins now. Or then. For right now, we have the trading. This was spectacular. If you're a fan of the former Swamp Thing, he makes a cameo in here. There's so much trading, and it's just so cool seeing all the different kinds of... They did show different generations of Swamp Things in this. Really, really good, and it shows how the green was around even before the human race was around. Something I definitely say, if you're a Swamp Thing fan, you'll want to read, and if you're following Swamp Thing, this is definitely a read. It was a spectacular book this week. Next, Teen Titans Annual number 2. Teen Titans are jumping around in time, of course, and in this one, Red Robin, Wonder Girl, and Superboy are now somehow in a dark future. Batman's dead, Alfred's dead, everybody's dead, but the Teen Titans are still alive. And apparently Gar is now green. How is that possible? Basically,
he met the Hulk from Marvel.
Yeah, that
was just a funny.
He says he's Beastman in what passes for the flesh. And his answer to why he looks green is I forgot what he said. Basically, he's been through times. Let's just put it that way. And then you get a huge splash page with the future Teen Titans, and you get to see Rose, Rose's daughter, and a few other newer Titan members. And one of the Titan members actually attacks Superboy, believing him to be John Kent, a Superboy. And yeah, he didn't realize that it's really Con-El. But Red Robin gets warned by Beast Boy about the future and about what exactly went on. And then the rest of the book is John Kent, Superboy, versus Con-El, Superboy. And Cassie actually gets a future Red Robin who shows up and says, all my fault. I never should have trusted. Wanted to believe. All the clues were there. And then he's like, Cassie, Khan, Raven, Garfield, dead, murdered. One of our own, betrayed, family. And then he disappears. And as a matter of fact, future Raven shows up and erases Cassie's memory of the whole ordeal.
So wait, then why did they bother putting that in there? They erased her memory anyway. That was...
it's for the reader, mostly.
Well, okay.
And apparently, John Kent is not as strong as Connor Kent, because Connor basically kills or gets close to killing John Kent. And also, John Kent sent all of his memories of killing every single one of the superheroes in this dark future to Superboy. And then he begs for mercy, and Superboy's like, after what you've shown me and after all the heroes you've killed, not a chance. And he's about to kill John Kent, or I guess let's call it revenge. I don't want to use the word kill because he is a super character. He's about to get revenge for all the heroes that John Kent killed, and then somehow Superboy disappears. What happened? You'll find out in about 2 books with Action Comics Annual number 2. But John Kent is saved, and the big thing in this issue is we all know, like I said, that Superboy is going to die in the Return of Krypton story arc. They already made mention of that. So what happens is they get a copy of Superboy's costume, they rip off John Kent's Superboy's costume, and play it off that John Kent is really the Superboy from the present day and not the future. And basically Rose is like, are you sure we made the right decision sending the dark Superboy back? And he's like, I hope so, Rose. It's the only hope we have. And that's it. So basically, this is DC's way of writing off Superboy without having to do a huge event within the Teen Titans writing off Superboy. Superboy just disappeared during this annual, and they did the switcheroo, and nobody's the wiser.
Makes sense.
And now we don't even have to worry about, the whole, oh, Superboy's dead, now we have a new Superboy. Nobody's ever going to know. Even Superman, I think, when Superman comes back, he's not going to even know. For a while. I mean, I'm sure there will be a story arc where it's going to come out where it's like, I'm not really your Superboy, I'm from the future, and I did a lot of horrible things. But, like I said, this could be the redeeming point in this Superboy's career. Like, he was a villain, he was evil, and now he's looking to make amends. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe Connor will somehow find a way back. Remember, death is never permanent in comics. Next annual is Nightwing, which is a Batgirl Wanted tie-in.
And it's the first issue, too.
It's the first ever annual of Nightwing.
Yeah.
Again, this is a Nightwing annual, but with a Batgirl tie-in. So this story really isn't heavily connected to Nightwing. To be honest, it's not really heavily connected to Batgirl either. I'm just making a joke out of it while I have the chance. This is about Nightwing and Batgirl's. They're basically, Nightwing's moving to Chicago permanent. This takes place after the story arc that just finished in Nightwing, and during the Batgirl Wanted story arc that's happening in Batgirl, which is being interrupted by 0 Year right now. And Dick is leaving, and he actually asks Barbara to go with him, and Barbara just throws out all of the stuff that's going on in Batgirl. So if you're not reading Batgirl, in this little panel right here, she says, my brother's dead, Batgirl's wanted for murder, my dad put my boyfriend in a coma, and I don't know what's going to happen to my boyfriend. And he's like, come with me, come with me to Chicago, let's start a new life. And he's like, I shouldn't have asked that. We shouldn't do that. And then the bat signal comes up. Batman's not in Gotham at the moment. So, enter Nightwing, and since Barbara gave up Batgirl, a masked Barbara Gordon, and they're on the case. And the case kind of links together. Once again, the story does center around Batgirl and Nightwing's relationship with each other. And it turns out the case is about this girl who's being stalked by a former boyfriend who is killing all the people that were exes that were connected to her. And you think it's one person, but it turns out to be another. I'm being very vague for a reason. This was a very good detective book, and you actually don't even see the ending coming until Nightwing goes, I just figured it out, and he explains it. And once again, this just plays on the relationship with Nightwing and Batgirl, and Nightwing was trying to force Dick was trying to force Barbara to move with him so they could start over. And then after seeing what happened with this Cindy girl saying, one day I just woke up and realized, I was being pushed so hard that I moved on. So he doesn't lose Barbara permanently. Basically, Barbara wants to actually have a talk with Dick about their relationship and, how things are. Even though things suck, they can make a good thing out of it. And Dick doesn't want to be the one that forced it, so he leaves for Chicago early on in the morning, and they never get to have their conversation. But I love how Barbara's like, you know what, I can't leave, you can't stay. I think we both know how this conversation was going to go. And then what? And he's like, yeah. He's like, for what it's worth, I do really care about you, Babs. I always have. And she's like, I know, take care of yourself. So it's kind of left up in the air, and then you get one page with Dick Grayson as Robin and Barbara Gordon as a young Batgirl. And the book, as the book says, not the end. So I have a feeling at some point we are going to revisit the whole Batgirl or Barbara Gordon, Dick Grayson thing. And I like how they're not just putting a period on it, like, okay, they're never going to get together. They've just realized and said, okay, in this issue, life sucks. It's never going to work. The end. They leave it wide open for future story arcs or a future story arc where, who knows, maybe they'll start dating again. And honestly, after reading this book, I don't think that would be a bad idea at all. Maybe when Dick comes back to Gotham, we all know that Dick Grayson's identity was revealed to the world during Forever Evil #1. So it'll be very interesting to see how things progress after Forever Evil's over, provided, of course, Nightwing lives. But everybody says that Nightwing's going to live, so, well, we'll see. Lights Out's final part. Lights Out Chapter 5, Green Lantern Annual Issue #2. Kyle is trying to help Relic replenish the source wall of the light spectrum. This way, what happened during Relic's time doesn't happen again. You have the lanterns plus almost every single Lantern Corps, the Red Lanterns and the Green Lanterns, plus Carol, Star Sapphire, going to try to save Kyle from the Relic. We do get one page where it gets very awkward between Carol and Hal, where it's like, I don't think I know where Kyle is. She's like, I feel it. And he's like, you're a Star Sapphire. Your power is from love. If you can feel it, that means... He's like, now I see. You ended things between us because you gave a whole speech about me needing to grow up. But really what you wanted was Kyle. And she's like, speaking of growing up, can you not do this while the fate of every lantern hangs in the balance and not in front of everybody? So you get that tension moment between Carol and Hal. You have John Stewart and the rookie Green Lanterns on what was it? Planet Nook, which is the Indigo tribe, and then you just get everybody. John Stewart and the Indigo tribe show up, and they try to help defeat Relic. But in the end, basically, they have to play chicken with Relic, and they want to basically throw him up against the Source Wall. And anything that touches the Source Wall, for those of you that don't know, the Source Wall permanently fuses to the Source Wall. But it's actually Kyle who basically yanks him through the Source Wall and prevents the Source Wall from exploding. Cracks fix up, and the wall closes once and for all. And Relic emerges, but once again, anything that goes in the source wall never leaves the source wall. And everybody believes Kyle to be dead now. Next reveal, I would consider this an epilogue, but it isn't. There's a new planet for the Green Lantern Corps, a new planet for where their power battery is. And who didn't see that coming? This coming? Mogo is the new Oa, basically. And the power battery's back. The light spectrum has been replenished. So they say the oath, and you think, okay, yay, everybody's going to be happy, you know, happy ending. Nope. A lot of the senior members of the Green Lantern Corps can't recite the oath anymore because they're thinking, you know, Kyle may have replenished the reservoir of light this time, but there's no White Lantern anymore, so what happens next time? And then in a second epilogue, we find out that Kyle broke free of the source wall, but can't remember what he saw. And his journey is now about to begin in Green Lantern New Guardians. But the universe must now believe that Kyle Rayner is dead because of what he saw on the other side of the source wall. Maybe after the next story arc in Green Lantern New Guardians, Kyle will come back, everybody will see that he's alive, and yippee-dee-doo. And let's not forget now that Guy Gardner, along with the Red Lantern Corps, was now promised their own space sector. And we all know it's 2814 because that's the advertisement for issue 25 of the Red Lanterns. Lights Out, I think that the series ended pretty well. I would say it's an average ending, a little bit above, maybe a 3.5 to 4 star ending. But we basically, I knew Relic was going to be defeated by using the source wall. The second I saw that he was going to the source wall, I just didn't want to say anything until I actually saw it play out. So I called it, even though I didn't say anything. And if anybody complains I didn't say anything and I'm just pulling that out of my ass, next time I'll make sure to say something if anybody comments that. Next annual is Superman Action Comics Annual number 2. Going right out of what happened in Superman 24, Supergirl 24, and Teen Titans Annual number 2. Superman, Supergirl, and Superboy were all pulled together by the Oracle. Why? Because Hell, apparently, they didn't kill Hell. What Kara did when she stabbed Hell with the kryptonite and Hell opened up the portal for Krypton to come through. Basically, a cosmic cataclysm, no pun intended, even though Marvel is doing Cataclysm, opened up, and due to the fact that now Hell can travel back and forth through time, he has traveled back and forth through time several times to try to prevent the destruction of Krypton, failed miserably until his last time, the last attempt, and now the fabric of time and space is basically breaking apart, and a deadly, tsunami, a time tsunami, so to speak, is threatening to destroy time and space as we know it all around. So it's up to the Super Family to put an end to Hell once and for all and to stop the cosmic time tsunami from happening before it ever does. But before that, he sends them to the future where they meet Fora, who was actually educated and saved by the Oracle to show them what future Krypton looks like now that Hell has saved it, and it ain't a pretty one. So the way they're going to save Krypton, or not save it really, set things right in the universe, this way time doesn't tsunami up and destroy and completely get destroyed. She sends the 3 super L's, let's call them L's, to 3 separate points in time to prevent Hell from ever changing a bit of history in Krypton's history. She sends Kara back to the Great War to stop the clones from inflicting a wound that would exuberate Krypton's endomorphic dissolution. Basically, she sends Kara back to prevent the clone, to rewrite history and prevent the clones from hurting Krypton. She sends Superboy back to make sure that Supergirl leaves Krypton and goes to Earth. And finally, she sends Superman back to the exact moment where Hell succeeded in saving Krypton and prevent him from ever succeeding. And of course, we all know, like I said, Superboy dies. And then, in a way, once again, we get the end of the story, and I feel like we get an epilogue. Kara makes it back to the time of the Great War, but her powers are going, because remember, they're on Krypton now. So it's the Red Sun that beats down on them. And she comes face to face with the clones. Superboy, which I love this page right here where they give the Superman S, meets up with Kara for the first time on Krypton, and she doesn't know who he is. So already he's kind of screwed things up because he didn't want to even see her. He just wanted to make sure she got to leave Krypton before it explodes. But now he's somehow intertwined, and Superman, who is right before Helix succeeds in preventing the destruction of Krypton, comes face to face with his mother, Lara. And he's just floored. He's like, I'm sure there's this is just, wow. And then in the present, Hell finds out about what the Oracle has done, and he decides he's going to go back and he's going to make sure that he prevents the Super Family from ever stopping him from bringing Krypton back. And it says, don't you dare miss Superboy, Supergirl, Superman 25 for the entire run of Krypton Returns. So we have 3 more parts and a lot of story. We also get some Man of Veal, which obviously is from the Mad magazine. So they give us a little bit of extra in this book, and I like that. And there's also a bit of a funny advertisement. So you get a couple of pages from Mad magazine added onto the book. All in all, I'm pumped for Return to Krypton. As you can see, it's a 4-way mural. For those of you that collected Superman back in the early 2000s, they did this with the Superman S in his books as well. So now it's going to be the annual Superman, Superboy, Supergirl to make the full 4
murals.
Yeah, the mural, basically. I'm looking forward to it, and it is officially like 5 in the morning, so if I start to ramble from here on, I apologize. I've probably been rambling throughout this entire review because I'm exhausted. I just want to catch up with myself. Mike is actually going to be doing this miniseries since I'm doing the other 2, so go ahead and take it away, Mike, with
Forever Evil Argus, number 1 of 6. Basically, to sum up the whole story, it talks about Colonel Steve Trevor and about him with Wonder Woman and how Argus was formed.
his first meeting with Wonder Woman.
His first meeting with Wonder Woman.
I'm sure that.
And yeah, this is some artwork of that. So he talks about how he was with the Justice League, with the Justice League Dark and America, and
they whisked him away right before the crime syndicate
showed up and everything.
Took him over.
And then it was the same thing where what was her name? I think Ida showed him that the world is ours and Justice League is dead. Heard that story many times. Then we get a backstory of Colonel Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman and the President,
who is ironically Barack Obama,
wants to see Colonel Steve Trevor, and basically he's just talking to him about do you trust the Justice League and the team, and and all the other stuff, because
and then he's like, I don't trust them.
Yeah, and he doesn't trust them, which is why the formation of Argus began. By the way, Argus stands for Advanced Research Group Uniting Superhumans, in that sense. So basically he just wants the president of Colonel Steve Trevor to know everything, and if anything should happen, Argus will be the first line to do the defense of mankind.
And since the crime syndicate showed up, Argus is now the first line of defense.
To to save the world and all that stuff. We get Deathstroke and Copperhead. I was gonna say Copperhead, who show up to fight him, and
things aren't looking good for Steve Trevor. That last page
ending
was wow, and we could say it now because everybody's already said it. You show that page, Dr. Light is back.
Yep, and
that shows that this series is going to be awesome. That, the fact that the fate of Steve Trevor, Dr. Light's revenge, and for those of you Killer Frost fans, Killer Frost kills in the next issue.
And that's to be continued. It's setting up a big plot, and I actually like that talk more about Colonel Steve Trevor and how Argus was formed, because I kind of always want to know how and why Argus was formed, and this story actually gave me that instance of how Argus was formed, and a little bit about Steve Trevor with Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's been with so many people, like first with Colonel Steve Trevor.
Yeah, all right.
Superman.
As I said, no series that's come out of Forever Evil thus far has disappointed.
No,
Every single thing that I've, even though I'm not reading, I read Argus, but even though I'm not reading Forever Evil Blight, I'm hearing good things about that.
Really good.
Argus is good. Arkham War is good. What was the other one? There's a third one. Arkham War, Argus, and the Rogues Rebellion. All the books are amazing from Forever, and then the Forever Evil and the tie-ins, which are the Justice League books, and Suicide Squad. All are spectacular. And we have like seconds before we're gonna have to start, so we're gonna be right back at the click of a button. So hang tight, just 1 second, and we're back. And the quality changed because once again the other camera only lasts for about 2 parts, and then we have to conclude in with the old camera. Okay, final book of the week, written and drawn by Andy Kubert. My top favorite book, one of my top favorites for the week, and that is Damian, Son of Batman. For those of you Damian fans, you're definitely going to be checking this out, especially with Damian's death so fresh. I know a lot of people are going to be grabbing this. This book is a huge reminder of, and I'm still not remembering, not Death in the Family. I can't remember.
Wasn't Court of Owls, right?
No. Way back when Jason Todd died. This is a 4-issue miniseries. It takes place. It takes place outside of the mainstream. This is more of a what if kind of story. Before, like, what if Damian didn't die, and what if Batman died instead? So you have an older Damian Wayne with older Robin with Batman, and they're searching for clues on with the Joker, and of course whenever the Joker's involved, crazy stuff happens. I'm not going to say how, but Batman gets the brunt of something that Joker leaves for him, and of course we get the Jason Todd moment, only in reverse. Now it's Robin with Batman in his arms. So Bruce Wayne passes away, or Batman dies, and Damian Wayne now goes back to Ra's al Ghul and Talia, and he's actually looking for help about his father and everything else. And not only won't they help him, but Ra's al Ghul actually says, we're also severing your ties with the League of Assassins. The Batman lineage is a proud and honorable one that must be upheld, a link that cannot be broken. Fate, not chance, has brought this moment to you. You must take your place as the next Batman. And he's like, me? Batman? You're freaking nuts. And he walks away, and basically, without becoming Batman, he becomes a one-man army, basically, as you can see. So he won't become Batman, but basically Robin is the new Batman. And everybody's kind of trying to help Damian, from a priest to even Alfred, who's trying to help, Damian. And he's like, Batman's gone, and I'm to blame, because he's blaming himself for his father's death because he wasn't quick enough. And basically, he knows that Batman, he's refusing to be the next Batman. And the ending, however, I am leaving
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm not saying what the ending is. But once again, remember, this is an older Damian. This is like close to, I would say, Dick Grayson's age, Robin, right now. But we all know at some point Damian's going to take up the mantle as Batman. Obviously, because if you've been looking at the solicitations, and by part 3, he's already the new Batman.
Right.
So, it's going to be interesting to see the evolution from Robin to Batman. And I'm very interested in seeing the next 3 issues. It's a $3.99 miniseries, 4 issues, definitely worth the money. Highly recommend you guys check out Damian, Son of Batman. Like I said, can't wait to see the last 3 issues of this series. And with that, we are done. So let's close out this series, because we got a lot of indie books to still read, and it's late. And if we want any hope of catching up with indie review, yeah. So anyway, guys, quick rundown. Damian, Son of Batman, issue 1 of 4. Definitely something to check out. Argus, issue 1 of 6.
Great
Forever
issue.
Evil tie-in.
Yeah,
Awesome
great issue. Can't wait to see what happens next.
Action Comics Annual 2 was really good. If you're reading Superman, you'll be reading this. If you're not, you won't. Green Lantern Annual number 2. Lights Out, the final part. This mini-series ended pretty strong, and I'm looking forward to what's to come in Green Lantern. Nightwing Annual number 1. In a way, it's more connected to Batgirl, but at the same time, it's really the relationship between Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon. Teen Titans Annual number 2 basically just explains away how the current Superboy is no longer going to be the Superboy in the regular universe. It's going to be John Kent. Swamp Thing, but it was still a very good book, by the way. Something to check out. It teases future story arcs. Swamp Thing Annual number 2 is the preparation for him versus the Cedar. Really awesome, and you get to see a couple of pages of the former Swamp Thing, which was basically the copy of Alec Holland meeting the actual Alec Holland. Smallville Annual, or Smallville Special number 3, which happens, like I said, during every annual week. If you're reading Smallville, you'll want it. If not, you won't. Punisher, The Trial of the Punisher, issue 2 of 2.
Book of the week. Definite pickup. Both parts were great. Cannot wait for the all-new Marvel Now Punisher when he goes to LA. Looking forward to it.
Scarlet Spider, issue 23. I leave up to you guys. Really good, though. Cataclysm, .1. Really good. Definitely something you guys should be checking out. Superior Spider-Man, issue 20 did not drop such a bombshell like what we were being promised. But at the same time, in a way, I'm glad, because the way Dan Slott was making it sound wasn't too... it was more of a kind of cringing moment. We have X-Men Battle of the Atom, part 2, or issue number 2. Didn't learn too much. All in all, the full miniseries, I would rate it as, and this is being generous, average, 3 stars. So if you guys are interested, check it out in trade. If not, not really much happened here. And Guardians of the Galaxy issue 8, Infinity tie-in, up to you guys. And with that, that's it for this week's Dark Avenger Comic Book Review. Don't forget to check out comicrelated.com, your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. If you haven't already checked out Dark Avenger Inc., that's our group channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe today. This way, Dark Avenger Inc. is in your sub box, and you don't miss out on a single video any one of us do on Dark Avenger Inc. There's a ton of links on Dark Avenger Inc. that lead to a bunch of websites that one or more of us are affiliated with or working on. Also, if you enjoy what you see here, there's a sub button somewhere around this video or on my channel. Click it. This way I'm in your sub box and you don't miss out on a single review. Comments are still wonky thanks to Google+, like I said at the beginning of the video. So feel free to comment. If you do not have Google+, feel free to personal message me if you want to reply to a question or my opinion on something, or a comment like I said in the previous video. But at least the reply button is back for most people, depending on if you're willing to connect to Google+ or not. Which I already was connected, but Dark Avenger Inc. won't be, so we're going to be answering through our personal accounts, but that's another thing. So, that's it. Caught up. Now I just have to make sure to catch up on the indie review. Take care, everybody. Keep reading, keep collecting, and I will see you guys really soon in the next review. Take care, everybody.
Later, guys.